What's up, everybody? This is Fasting is Life, and welcome to the show. Let's get it started. All right, welcome to the show, and happy weekend. Today is Sunday, May 16th, 2021, and I'm finally back again after a few weeks with a live show. I know it's been a while. Yeah, me and YouTube, we have a love and hate relationship, but I'm back. I'm back. I found some free time and wanted to speak on this subject, stress. But before I can get into it, please, for those of you who are new to the channel, please make sure to like and subscribe and check out some of my old content. I'm sure you appreciate some of them. And as you can see, my channel is Fasting is Life. So my main agenda on this channel is to promote a fasting lifestyle. There are a lot of forms of fasting, but at the end of the day, it's about your health. So that's usually my goal when I speak about fasting. And in relation to health, today's topic is stress is death. Stress. I know all of us in our everyday life, there's a time where we have pressure in our mind, things that we're doing, and we get stressed. So, what is stress, right? So, I pull up an article that was speaking on stress and what it is, right? So, it's a health site. It's about mental health, and it says, according to the article, stress is the feeling of being overwhelmed or unable to cope with mental or emotional pressure. And it goes on to say, stress is our body's response to pressure. Many different situations or life events can cause stress. It is often triggered when we experience something new, unexpected, or that threatens our senses or our sense of self, or when we feel we have little control over a situation. Now, I could. The reason also I chose to speak on this topic because seeing what's going on with the world, a lot of distraction, a lot of pressures of life, the economy, this and that, the pandemic hoax, health, sickness, you know, face covering mandates. Like a lot of people are under pressure. So it's causing a lot of people to be, you know, stressed out, worried, anxious, you know, depressed. So it's like, the world is like, it's boxing you in and you feel like there's no way out. Yeah. And I can understand it happens too, especially for those of us who work hard and we just want to get through the day and we feel that pressure where you're like, I can't take this anymore. I gotta do something. Either take a nap, sleep, or just quit. I quit. And there's always a solution to every problem, right? So let me continue with the article. It talks about the signs of stress. It says, what are the signs of stress? You may feel anxious, afraid, angry or aggressive, sad, irritable, frustrated, depressed. And it states these feelings can sometimes produce physical symptoms, making you feel even worse. Now, these feelings, am I saying that you're not supposed to have them? No, I'm not saying that. We are mankind. We are made of emotions. Of course, we have these emotions, but the solution is you shouldn't dwell on it because it can affect you negatively. All of us get stressed. All of us face fear. All of us get, angry, sad, fearful. All of us have those feelings, but how do you overcome it? Because that energy, that emotion can negatively affect you on how you operate in your daily activities. So once you figure out what it is, what should you do, right? And in this article, it talks about, it says, here's how somebody who's stressed can behave. And you guys can recognize some of this. It says, if you are stressed, you may withdraw from other people or snap at them. When it says snap, is just getting irritated and getting angry at them. Be indecisive or inflexible. Inflexible. Be tearful, meaning crying all the time. Tears and all. Yeah. you know. And what else? Have problems getting to sleep or staying asleep. Yeah. Most of the time, if you're under stress, you have a hard time sleeping because your mind is overreacting. It's working double time. So worrying and anxiety can do that to you. Stress. Uh, the next one, of course, you guys will really love this. Experience sexual problems. Sexual problems. ED. Of course. See, for couples out there, maybe one of your partner, he's angry, God damn it, I work. And baby, feeling that healing, that mood, and then nothing happens, or the other person is not able to, stand up. And you be, oh, I'm not in the mood. And it creates, conflict, So even in this health article, it's talking about, you know, things that you may do, how you can behave when you're stressed out. So I had to pause on that experience sexual problems because that happens. They say, well, if you're too much in your head, you may not get, stand to attention because your hormones are not working properly because there's like a malfunction. And he also mentions, lastly, he says that when someone is stressed, he may smoke, drink alcohol, or take drugs more than usual. So if you find yourself consuming these uh, things more than your normal habits, like if you're an occasional drinker, but you notice you're drinking more, you gotta take some break and be like, wait a minute, I used to drink 1 glass a month. Why am I drinking 5 glass a week? Something is not, take a pause, buddy. Take a pause. And what else? Okay. The next solution is what? Not solution actually, but talking about the side effects or symptoms. It says how your body might react if you're stressed. Now, here they're basically giving you a list of uh, body reaction, or what I'll call the results of you being stressed out, how your body responds to it, right? What on the outside will be like symptoms, or they will say, oh, here are the symptoms if you're stressed out. First, headaches, lots of headaches, nausea, and digestion, shallow breathing. you know, it says shallow breathing or hyperventilating, I hate it. I hate my job. Ah, man, this guy pissed me off. Something like that, right? or you're waiting for food and you're hungry, or you're waiting in line at a fast food and you try to order, you're hungry, and then the hunger gets in your mind and you're stressed. Come on, hurry up, man, just give me the money, come on, I got 5 minutes, I gotta get back to work. What else? Sweating, heart palpitations, your heart beating irregularly. It's like your heart is beating like death metal beat, or was it like rap, it's not beating the, no, it's irregular, so you don't want that. So because some people will be like, oh, I'm not worried, and then their body's reaction is uh proving, or it's saying something else. So sometimes when someone is stressed, in his mind, he may not feel it, right? Based on what I mentioned earlier, but it could be their body's reaction. Like you feel tired, like they were mentioning, you can sleep, your body's, reacting differently. And it also mentions aches and pains. So there may be more, but these are some of the ones they're mentioning that are very obvious. And it says, if the stress is long lasting, you may notice your sleep and memories are affected. Your eating habits change, or you feel less inclined to exercise. Oh boy. Oh, I'll do it next week. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And today I'm taking a break. I don't want to do squats, you know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. I think I should point this out. It says some research has also linked long-term stress to gastrointestinal uh, condition like irritable bowel syndrome (IBS) or stomach ulcers, as well as conditions like cardiovascular disease. So, hey, something to pay attention. And let me see what the health site offers. What advice or solution to your stress? Because some of these, the solution may not be quote unquote easy or immediate, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try it, right? So let's see. Let me read them out. All right. Okay. It says, how can you help yourself? Let's see. Recognize when stress is a problem. Review your lifestyles. Build supportive relationship. Eat healthy. Be aware of your smoking and drinking. No, was it no illegal substance? That's what we're not promoting here. This is a health channel. Okay, okay. There's no, MJ promotion here or opioid, no. But if you will smoke, just be careful. Exercise is another solution. Take time out, meaning fasting. Get it? Take time out, meaning take a break from everything. Do a little fast. You know, cut off all activities and just relax. Take a break from your daily activities. Do nothing that day. I'm not saying be lazy. Of course, get up, brush your teeth, take a shower. If you're a lady, put your makeup and stuff like that. Look good, but take a break. Don't work hard. Don't be out there cutting grass or cutting a tree down or chasing some deer in a forest. Just relax. Don't work hard. Don't over stress yourself. Take a break, maybe a day or two, and just see how your mind feels. Next, be mindful. Get some restful sleep. And last, don't be too hard on yourself. And this is one thing that gets a lot of people stressed out, because regrets. Oh man, I should have. I should have. I should have. And then you're stuck there in a loop, and then that's another reason why a lot of people get stressed out. So this wasn't something too hard that I wanted to speak on you guys today. Um, it is very necessary. I woke up and I have to, I have to be honest. Shout out to my brother, Spiritual Hawk. I noticed he's relentless this day. I'm very happy that we finally have him speak more and make more videos. I haven't been making videos and all that stuff. Shout out to all our brothers out there who are biblically based, and sometimes we get shunned upon because in the Bible and all that stuff. But I watched his last stream. I was asleep. I couldn't catch it live. But the subject that he spoke of yesterday was so on point. Was it do not was it the look? He's like, do not love the word because the word don't love you. And he was on point. Let me see. Let me check who's on the chat. Shout out to everybody in the building. Cool Kumasi, I see you, bro. Welcome to the show. Doug, peace. Let's see. P Capes TV. Way again, yes. Spiritual Hog, welcome to the building, bro. I missed your live yesterday. Yeah, I was just talking about you right now. Let's see. PC Cave, he says, remove toxic people from your life. Yes, sir. What's the saying? He says that you are you are the average of the 5 people you hang around, meaning whoever you are with, you will adopt their traits. So if you're around negative people, you too become negative because uh, what's the saying? One apple spoils many. So if 4 are spoiled apples and you're the good apple, what happened to you? You'll be spoiled too. Yes, sir. And brother Hawk, he says, true stress kills people more than anyone for those without wisdom. Yes. And speaking about people dying because of stress, let me read you a scripture from the Bible. For those of you who don't know, there's a passage in the Old Testament. It's about a prophet named Eli in the book of Samuel's. Now, Eli was a high priest. Now, the thing is, his children were very wicked people. So the nation of Israel was at war with the Philistine, and he was very old. Now, what happened, basically the bad news was his children died, and soldiers who were running away from the battlefield, they came back. Now, let me read you what happened to him by hearing the news. And now this news was more than that. Not only his children died, but the Ark of the Covenant was taken by the Philistine, meaning it was taken by the enemy, and he's the high priest, right? In was it First Samuel chapter 4, coming down to verse 15, he says, now Eli was 98 years old, and his eyes were dim that he could not see, meaning he was very old. And in verse 17, it says, and the messenger answered and said, Israel is fled before the Philistines, and there hath been also a great slaughter among the people, and that 2 sons also, Ophni and Phinehas, are dead, and the ark of God is taken. And it came to pass, when he made mention of the ark of God, that he, referring to Eli, the old man, fell off the seat backward by the side of the gate, and his neck brake, and he died, for he was an old man and heavy. So he was also fat, and he hath judged Israel 40 years. So even the Bible touched on things that we just talk about. I tell people, right? People talk down on the Bible. The Bible is very descriptive. I'm reading this after years of remembering this story. I never even realized that the Bible called Eli fat. Wow. I've read this passage years ago when I was a child, right? But as an adult, and speaking on this, that's why I say the Bible has many perspective based on where you are in life. So when I'm reading it says, for he was an old man and heavy. People will be like, what do they mean heavy? It's talking about he was fat because when you heard the news, he was sitting on a chair, and it says he fell backward. So imagine if like a regular chair, and he hears the news, like when you hear bad news and you put your hand, your arms on your head, like like touching, like oh my god, right? And then because he was fat, he fell backward, and it says that he fell and broke his neck and died. Why? Because of the shocking news, right? He received a sudden stress, and his body reacted a certain way, and because of it, he died. And not only that, plus the Bible mentions that he was heavy. Now, if he was in health, maybe he got a bad news. Maybe he would have fallen backwards. Maybe he could have been like just crying or bawling his eyes out. But it says that he fell backward because he was an old man and heavy, meaning he was a fat old man. Yo, the Bible was something else. Yo, after all these years, I never realized that Eli got fat. That's why. Oh my God. That's why I love the Bible, man. I'm like, bro, guys, this whole stream that I'm doing right now, I didn't even prep it. All I was like, okay, I'm gonna talk about stress. Let me look up online if there's an article, like a health article. I'm gonna read from it, and let me grab some Bible verse that talks about stress and worry. And I remember that first thing came out. I'm like, okay, which person that I can speak of from the Bible who died because of bad news and stress? I wasn't even thinking that I'm gonna be reading a verse that would talk about that Eli got fat. Ay, ay, ay. So yeah, let me get back to it, bro. I'm sitting in awe with my hands on my mouth, like I was even expecting it when I read the symptoms. This right here, when it's talking about uh the solution about exercise and eating healthy. I wasn't even thinking that the verse I'm gonna read it would talk about anything about obesity or being overweight, because being overweight can affect your stress level. Yo, bro, oh my god, like damn. So yeah, brother Hawk was correct. It says true stress kills people more than anyone. Yes, oh yes. Shout out to Doug again. He's giving greetings to people. Again, Brother Hawk says, as time goes on, the Bible will prove itself for those who are not willing to compromise the truth and bow to government. That is a fact. And yes, Brother Hawk. Hey, I'm gonna open the panel. I haven't spoken to you in a while, bro. I love to hear your voice. But before I can do that, right? Let me read you guys one more, another verse, and I'll pass it into the chat so you guys can see it for yourself. Uh, better better let the black and white speak. Okay, it says, I'll read it with you guys. Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 2, verse 13. Woe, which means destruction, unto him that is faint hearted, for he believed not. Therefore shall he not be defended. Now, faint-hearted is like old English, meaning it's another way of saying being worried, being unfaithful, you know, having doubts, worry, fear. So yeah, that is one thing that people gotta be careful. And even if you look at the definition, fear is the opposite of it's a belief, but it's a negative belief, and fear leads to stress too. So my advice is stress will happen. It is inevitable. But will you stay stressed? No. Especially men, we are about solution. We have to find means to be in a healthy state of mind. Why? Because as a man, if you are aware, you are of sound mind, you can make the right decision and move accordingly. And if you look at stress, stress tends to keep you in an emotional state, because things like fear, you know, anger, snapping out of people, not controlling your emotions, right? Uh, pulling yourself away, withdrawal, and all that stuff. Like it's like those are all emotions, and you don't want to be stuck into that because emotions will overcloud your judgment on how you should act. It's not to say that we're not supposed to have emotions, but it's like don't let your emotions cloud your judgment and lead you to the point where you're so stressed out that you can't think logically. And that's why the media is pulling everything they're doing right now. And I know Brother Hogg, when he's gonna jump on the panel, we're gonna talk about it. Look at everything that's going on in the news right now. Look at the fear. This so called, Israeli versus Hamas in Asia, Europe sanctions, and you know the was it the bug, the 2019 bug is still out there. Now they're we're pulling off the face, the covering, because everybody's getting the shot, so everything is getting better, right? Oh, and speaking about at the airport, right? 6 feet apart is no longer. What happened? I thought we can be close to each other because we might catch the invisible killer. Oh, no more. You can be next to somebody, so if they fart, you can smell it. I'm like, what is going on? And the panic. Oh, the economy is gonna crash. Get ready. Buy. Get fuel. Was a fuel shortage, and guess what? Because of stress and panic, people go out there buying gasoline and putting on plastic bags. Like, why? But I've said too much. Uh, my advice is stress can kill you. That's what I said. Stress is death. But fasting is another solution. That's what my channel is called. Fasting is life. And fasting is abstinence from things that are detrimental to your health. So let's say if you've built a bad habit of eating too much, maybe take a break from eating and see how your body reacts. If you have some internal illness, inflammation, take away from you know consuming things that cause inflammation and find out the next steps on what you can do to better yourself. So there's a lot of things that we as individuals can do to remove stress in our life. But the solution I named earlier, let me repeat again. It is they gave 10 solutions. They say recognize when stress is a problem, review your lifestyle, build supportive relationship. And that's why I always say family is very important. And family doesn't have to be blood. It could be people who you have like mind. Because relationship, it's two ways. It's between two or more people. And it doesn't always have to be blood. It could be people that friends, acquaintances, and stuff like that. Eating healthy, and you have to find out what is healthy, because anybody can say, "Oh, eat healthy," but you have to decide and find out what is healthy, what can make your life better. Because maybe I'll put it this way: maybe milk is healthy according to health, but maybe your body just don't like milk. So you're gonna have to find something that's because to me milk may be, oh, I'm drinking milk, it's healthy, it's good for consumption, but your body will react differently to it. So you have to find what's healthy for your body, right? And there's information out there for you. Be aware of your smoking and drinking, right? Alcohol, there's always, there's nothing wrong with drinking alcohol, but too much of anything will kill you. And there are certain alcohol, like I said, depending on your body, if you drink it, it may affect you negatively. So when they're saying being aware, because they know some people's body will react differently if they were to smoke or drink. Exercise is always healthy. When you're walking, you're exercising. Taking time out, and I use the word fasting, why? Meaning taking a break out of things. If you're doing something too much, stop doing it and see what happens. Maybe it could be you're stressed because you're doing too much of it. Being mindful, right? Meaning being aware of what you're doing. And the only way for you to be aware is to be stress free. You can be of sound mind if you're stressed. No, two cannot occupy the same space. You can't be mindful and being stressed. It doesn't work that way. Get some sleep, right? Because a lot of people don't sleep. Try your best to get at least a minimum of 8 hours of sleep to rest your mind. And lastly, don't be too hard on yourself. And this is what they're promoting. They want you to be hard on yourself. Because when you're hard on yourself, you're going to out on your emotion. You're not going to think clearly. And that's what they're looking forward to do. So, again, guys, I really appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. I know the topic is, kind of boring, stress. But I appreciate it for those who are in the building and for those of you who will watch um after the stream ends. So if you're new to the channel and you appreciate this message, feel free to subscribe and share and like the stream. And now I'll open the panel for whoever wants to jump on and speak on the topic and anything else because I know you brothers and sisters out there have a lot to talk about. So 1 second, I'm gonna post. Let's see. Oh, and you know what also causes stress? Money. Money can cause stress. So yeah, money. All right. I dropped the panel. You guys are welcome to jump on. And like I say, health is one of the greatest investment you can do on your life. My favorite quote that I tell myself is health is wealth. I'm better off spending half of my money for me to have a sound body and a sound mind and spending money on material things. So, if I've shown you guys my kitchen where I had all these crazy health stuff in my drawers and all that stuff. So some people go, "Oh man, why do you have all that stuff? What's the use for it? You're wasting money." I'm like, "No, you know, to you it may look like a waste of money, but when it comes to my health, it's everything. You know, buying expensive supplements, buying was it providing my body with good oils, good vitamins, good minerals. Uh, was it eating fresh meat if possible, and living a fasting lifestyle in case when I want to abstain from something that I feel like maybe causing me inflammation and stuff like that, or trying to heal. So all those steps, and I'll tell you, it's not easy. It is very hard to eat healthy, but we have to do it. And I'm not stressed out about it. See, they want us to live in a world where we always stress, why? So we can act on our negative emotions and be stressed out of our minds, so we cannot think soundly. And that's that's not very good. And I always say this life that we have is so precious. We don't know how long we have in this earth, and it's so little. Do the best you can, and you know when you do the right thing, and it feels good to be healthy. Like I don't know about you, but I don't like being sick. I don't like it, even if it's some crazy allergies for me. Leaving the country, coming back, like the change of weathers and all that stuff. Those allergy reaction, it didn't feel good. And I tried my best to take the medicine, but it was all right. All right, brother, spiritual in the building. Let me see. All right, brother. How you doing? Let me see if I can remove the image so we can see you, bro. All right. Brother,
Hey, what's going on?
welcome to the building.
Yeah, I'm glad I caught you. I could be on here for a little bit.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
yeah, man, but your title is captivating. Stress is death. And what I'd like to tell people is that the reason that they're stressing themselves out is because they're trying to fit into this false reality. You know, they're more controlled. by their vices than their actual mind. And like when you think about how guys are stressed out about women, how guys are stressed out about ha- what to do with money or not having enough money, too much money. It's because you're controlled by your vices, your flesh. You're not controlled with your mind because your mind will always see money as a tool. Your mind will always see women in the rightful position. Your mind will always allow you to see adversity as an opportunity to grow, not just something to overwhelm you. And because this life is not meant to be fair, and it's very difficult because human nature, the evils of human nature is running the world. So stress is going to happen. But if you don't have a foundation, structure, discipline, and for me, the biblical worldview that gives all of this purpose, because I understand why the world is the way it is, because it's ran by people who hate the truth, and that creates manipulation, extortion, and all the corruption we see from the government and all of this stuff. If you don't understand what's happening, you're going to be very disappointed in your expectations of what you expect from this world.
Yeah, you're actually correct. And as we're speaking on that, right? I I know you're gonna be like, man, I knew it. Let me post a Bible verse that you are already familiar with.
Hmm.
Hold on one second. Basically, everything you say, right? It says what in Philippians 4:6. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God.
Yep.
So even the Most High, He knows we need things, right? Like Christ said, "Do lilies in the field, grass, do they need anything?" But the Most High knows He feeds, He makes them grow and they die off, they get burned. But He said, "You
Right.
are a man, you are greater than these things. Why are you worrying about things like food, shelter, and clothing?" He said, "I'll get you all this and more. Just do what you have to do and don't be worried." So this verse is saying, "Be careful for nothing." But you know what the world is saying? Oh man, you're missing out. Get this, get that. And it gets you stressed out. But
Yeah.
knowing that the Most High got you, it puts you in a state of mind of peacefulness and sound mind that you're like, you know what? Yeah, things are going, but everything is gonna be okay. And us teaching this mindset, we call conspiracy theorists, we call uh Bible thumper, we called uh them Jesus people over there. And I sit back and I'm like, wait a minute. So the world don't want solution. They want you
No.
to be in a what they call it, the thin line between solution and problems. They want you there. But the Most High says, they say, you either hot or cold, lest you be spewed out. Isn't that
Yep.
interesting?
Yeah. I mean, everything that people complain about is because they like I said, it's I'm gonna put in the verse James 4:1 through 3. Um, that's a good one. Let me pull it up real quick. James chapter 4 verses 1 through 3. 1 second. And I think that verse is very important. Okay, you pop this in the chat real quick. And I think that verse is very. I had to pop it on my laptop real quick. All right,
Yeah,
here we
if you
go.
post it, I'll put it on the screen.
Okay. Oh man, it might be too much. Um, yeah, it might be too much. Can you
Oh,
pull
that's
up
good. What is it? James what? 1?
James chapter 4 verses 1 through 3?
Oh, 4. Okay, yeah, 1, 2,
Yeah.
3. What I'll do is I'll post individual verses.
Okay.
While you're speaking on it, I can just show on the screen.
Okay. Bad. And I think people need to understand that I can read that verse real quick and will tell you what it says. And it says, "From whence comes wars and fighting among you? Come they not hence even of your lust that war in your members? Ye lust and have not, ye kill and desire to have and cannot obtain. You fight and war, yet you have not because you ask not. And you ask and receive not because you ask amiss that you may consume it upon your lust." And let me give you an example of what that means. It basically saying all the calamity, all the confusion comes from people. wanting things from their flesh, and then they can't get them. Like it says, you lust and you have not. That's the frustration we see around men. They're lusting for women and they can't get them. And so it frustrates them and it causes them to do a lot of illogical things. Like in thinking that if I have enough money, that's going to change the nature and behavior of a woman. No, it's going to draw out the nature and behavior of a woman. It's wisdom that allows you to use money and structure a woman correctly in your life. Money alone would just attract a gold digger who wants to consume you by it, or you kill and desire to have and you can obtain. You people get so consumed with wanting materials that they're willing to compromise their very freedom in life to get it. And then it says, even if you ask and you don't receive, it's because you ask wrongly. You're not using it for nothing good. You want to just consume it on your lust. And people don't realize that sometimes it's good that God doesn't give you what you want until you have an understanding about yourself. Because what if you got that one thing and it destroyed you? Some people, the lottery curse that people say, oh, the people
Yeah.
hit the lottery and then all of a sudden most they end up dying, their family is destroyed. That's what happens when you get money in a world like this and you don't have wisdom or structure to see how your greed is being weaponized against you. The lottery curse is a real thing because it shows you the rawness of greed. You
Hey,
know,
and Hulk, to add to what you just said, even back home, back in the Congo, this is one thing we learned, and I've observed it over and over. You may agree with this. Have you ever noticed when people receive something for free or they gets things granted to them without
hmm
them working for it, they never take care of it. One
of
good
course,
example: you getting a free car. Someone gives you even it's a used car, and because you never bought it with your hard earned sweat, you don't take care of it. The car breaks down. You don't even, you forget doing the oil change. But guess what? You buying that car with your own hands. You don't even want people to scratch it. You don't even you, like one little was it goes down 1 liter of fuel. Oh, I gotta go to the fuel and fill it.
right?
Because why? It's something you cherish. Why? Because you work for it. So even the scripture says what? A man shall eat by the sweat of his forehead. So
Yeah,
the idea, check this out, Hulk. Even the idea of giving money to homeless, it's against scriptures. The Bible says when the poor were to go in the field to get something, they didn't hand it to them. He said, "What? You go out there and pluck your own corn.
yeah,
There was no handing money. You gotta work." Even the widow, it says, the apostles they advise widows to do service in a church and be paid. They weren't
yeah.
just giving money, but we live in a world that says, "Oh, take," and knowing that they're actually training you to go against God.
Yeah, you should. If a man wants to eat, he should work. That's scripture as well. And I think that people have to understand that being consumed by your vices, laziness is a vice of people because you're feeling entitled. You're prideful that you don't have to work for something. And that a lot of people are stressed out because of that. They have a lazy work ethic or lazy mind. Many people say an idle mind is the devil's playground is a cliche that, statement that many people hear, but it's true. And a lot of times, stress is something that happens from lack of wisdom. If you don't understand the structure that we're supposed to live in this world where people who work, they're more productive and they're more secure in life. People who are not foolish, foolish being disobeying God. God warns you about the nature of lust, the nature of greed, the nature of vanity, the nature of idolatry. These things, the world wants you to go out there and cheat, lie, steal, and then get in trouble afterwards. The world wants you to deal with that because that's stress. People who lie, guess what they got to do? They got to remember the lie. That's a lot of stress to remember a lie. If you told the truth and or if you work for something, then you know how to do it. You know what was done. But to remember something that didn't happen, you have to keep your story straight. And so many people who are working in deceptions and lies, they get frustrated because they have to put so much energy in keeping the lie going.
Hey,
And
you're right, Hulk. And as you're speaking, I think about my character as a person in my real life.
Mhm.
I, you know, people who know me, they say that fasting is straightforward. He has no filter in his mouth and he speaks his mind. Now,
Right.
to some people, they be like, oh man, if you do this, you alienate people and stuff like that. But I look back in my life, I'm like, the people who are in my life are the ones I want in my life. Why? Because they accept me for who I am. They
Yeah.
realize I'm not a liar. And the thing is, when you live a life of truth, liars cannot abide. Liars and gossipers, they cannot stand you because you know what they all say. They said, "Man, I can tell you nothing because you're just gonna stare and you're hoping." And I'm like, "Oh, but here's the catch. You don't know. There are some things, right, that I'll keep a
Mhm.
secret that is righteous, but something that's wicked, I'm not gonna keep it a secret. If you if you're talking bad, I always tell people, hey, if you're gonna talk bad about somebody, don't do it in my ear because he's gonna hear it.
Right.
And people, because they love wickedness, they don't like that. So I live, even in my own life, I live a life of uh, I'll speak my mind, and when I'll say it, I'm not gonna remember it because I'm gonna speak the truth. And I've realized another reason why people are so stressed out because when they must speak the truth, they lie or they withhold the truth. They're afraid of the backlash, and in it in itself puts them in a stressful situation. Why? Because they should have spoken their mind. The scripture says, "Why it say, be bold as lion, speak the
Mhm.
truth." And guess what? Even if you have to die, so what? I believe I'll get to come back again, even stronger. But if you hold your tongue because you want to please the world, as you say in your, if you want to please the quote unquote world, guess what? The world doesn't reward good. We live in a world where doing good is evil. Like
Yep.
literally, like you doing good unto people, people say they call you weak. They say you're not a man. Why are you doing good? Morality. What is moral?
Yeah, but they want morality because they're not ready to go back to no kill, be killed, or rob and steal society. Everybody wants morality because no one's comfortable. See, people are not being honest. If somebody say I don't morality, we need to throw that away, and then immediately somebody put a gun to their head and stole from them, they will be upset. So those people are not being honest. Everybody needs morality because everybody values their life. Because the people who don't, they're dead. They didn't waste no time ending it. So if you're not immediately killing yourself, you value your life, your freedom. People just not being honest because it sounds fun to just say anything, speak without thinking. But everybody values morality who is alive because lack of morality threatens your very life and freedom and your security, and the world that we have no world. Business doesn't make sense without morality. Business itself is a structure based on an honest merit based system. Morality holds that together. If you're not doing honest business and somebody could just lie and steal from you, you will be calling the FBI or somebody talking about you there was theft or fraud or something going on. You're looking for morality even in business. You can't make an honest buck if somebody's stealing from you, and people have to remember that. And I would go a step further and says not only is stress is death, but death is stress. Most people are
Yes.
stressed because of the uncertainty of death. I mean, they don't look, death is something that the world doesn't give you any kind of solution for. Everybody is no thinks about the fact that death is imminent and it's always on the table. It's not going nowhere. It's something you always worry about. And the scripture tells you not to worry about your life, but it also gives you a structure to cherish it. See, the world doesn't give you any kind of solution to deal with the fact that death is something that happens. And most people have a fear of death because they have no hope in it. They think this world is all there is. And what a pitiful existence if you think that this is it. If you think that you were given a consciousness, you are aware of yourself just to turn into nothing. And see, that's the lie that the world wants to let people know because fear based people, they pour a lot of effort into materialism, into vanity, to greed. And they feeding the engine of the world that exploits that kind of mindset that's based on the flesh. That's why the government is there. The government loves people who are desperate, who will do anything to add, be relevant because they have no identity outside of the world. The government preys on people. The government wants to give you an identity. They want to make you property of the government out of your fear of death because you reject your creator. The government didn't create you. The government didn't give you a soul, didn't give you that consciousness that you have within you. But the government wants to determine how it should be used. And the government will stress you out because the government gives things to you so it can take away and make you beg. That's
Hey,
what this is.
brother Hawk, you touch on something interesting about the government, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, like I always say, if we have to actually go and find the proof of people who died last year because of this invisible killer, people will be surprised. I believe in my heart, right? When I tell people, people don't believe me. I told
Right.
them, okay, they say, well, you say this thing is not real, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, what? They say, what is killing people? How people are dying? And when I tell them stress, they don't believe me. I say, think about this, right? Somebody,
Right.
let's take somebody who has diabetes. He's already unhealthy, right? His body is already in a level of stress because of penicillin and all the medicine he's taking. So
Right.
let's say you tell that somebody he has the invisible killer. What happens? Worry. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. So the fear of death is already in his mind. He's already stressed. When they put him in that ventilator, what is the side effects that even the CDC say what happened is that because it's plastic, whenever anything that goes inside your body like that, your
Right.
body reacts. There's like a chemical reaction, like your body is trying to reject it because it's a foreign entity. And even nurses that were coming, they said that a lot of people are going into coma or having seizures whenever they
Mm-hmm.
try to give them that ventilator thing. But we're not supposed to say it because it's quote unquote conspiracy or misinformation.
Right.
But I believe a lot of people who passed was because of stress and because what he's believing, he says faith is is the hope of things, or was it, it's the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Even if this thing is not real according to how science will put it. But it became real. Why? Because the government was able to convince the people this thing is real, and their state of mind created a belief that this thing can
Mm-hmm.
kill you, and they
Yeah, they lost their jobs because they shut down the world and they were stressed about how to put food on the table. They were told to put on that personal protection device, which obstructs their breathing and causes them to hyperventilate, to rebreathe carbon dioxide, the bacteria in their mouth. They said the dentist is the number of cases of people going to the dentist has skyrocketed because of mask mouth or thrush, all kinds of dental problems from people wearing masks all the time. And I mean, it just throws your body off balance. Your body is a very sensitive system. And when you do something as drastic as obstruct your airway, of course you're going to cascade you're going to cause a cascade of issues that are happening to people. But people don't want to believe that. And all of a sudden, this is the stress of you worrying about something. People, what the opposite of worry is faith. But faith is not just imaginative thinking. Faith is actually believing that doing what you know works is a more viable option. See, God requires us to be good stewards of our health and body, to treat our body as the temple, as His temple. See, if you have faith on on being obedient to God's word, which requires you to take good care of your body, to live a productive lifestyle, a lifestyle of wisdom, a lifestyle where you avoid the evils within yourself that lead you into this world into destruction. If you live that lifestyle and you believe that, the outcome would prove itself. People just think the Bible wants you to have faith on nothing. No, faith on God's word. His word is his law. His law reflects the nature, the evil nature and chaos that is inside of us. If you're not aware of the evil within you, then the world will use it. And the world will throw you into the problems. That's why the scripture in First Timothy chapter 6, it says the love of money is the root of all evil that causes all kinds of problems. And it's the love. Money is a tool. But when you love money, you're not no longer using it as a tool. You're depending on it. You're not depending on the mind that was given to you by your creator. You're depending on something that was supposed to be a tool for you to use. Now the money is using you, and the world is using the money to draw you into a system that's going to keep you frustrated. It's going to keep you worrying about stuff that if you had a structured life, you wouldn't have to worry about.
And speaking about the world, notice the world, they twist that passage. They say what? Money is evil. And I'm like, well, if you're gonna call money evil, you know what you should call evil? You should call a wood evil. You should call
Yeah,
an apple evil.
it's just a tool. So that's the thing. It's just a tool. You're not supposed to be a slave to money. See, when you love, that scripture, I mean, that stream I did about loving the world, first of all, people don't understand love biblically is obeying God's commandments because only the God's commandments exposes the truth of things. So you have to measure it against a standard to see if where it is if it's true, false, good, or bad. People don't want to be honest about what the true objective standard of good and evil are. It's obeying God by his commandments. Because the biblical worldview is the only law that is congruent with our conscience. If it's not causing you to go out there and murder, lie, cheat, steal, diminish people's values and idolatry, that's all coming from the biblical worldview. Because the world doesn't have a problem with you going out there deceiving people, doing extorting people, lying to people, stealing from people to get money. We see that on Wall Street. We see that in the government. That's all these people do is lie, cheat, and deceive. The world doesn't have a problem with that. You just have to play the world's game. You have to promote the world's agenda because the world's agenda is a lie and deception that causes stress and grief in people. But the world will promote you as long as you're promoting the world. But
Yeah.
the world wants you to be desperate and fear mongered. Those are easy people to control. People that instead of going internally and relying on God, which we all know we should do because we know that we don't want to be don't want somebody being corrupt to us, so we shouldn't be corrupt to others. That's coming from God because the world doesn't care. The world sells lies like it sells anything else, and it needs you to buy it and promote it. And that's what's going on. Like, look at this. Look at people complaining right now about the victimhood. God never said that this
Yeah.
evil world was going to be nice to you. God warned you the evils in the world that people were going to come out here and mistreat you and hate when you speak the truth. God warned you of this. So why would you go to the same evil people and expect them to be nice when God told you don't try to conform to that. Come out of that and follow him.
Hey, you know you meant I knew you were gonna go there, right? Like this passage it says, "Do not envy the oppressor and choose none of his ways."
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you tell our people, you know what they call you? They call you sellout. They call you, that you were a coon because you telling them the truth. I'm like, how can you go to the oppressor and ask for your freedom when he got his knee on your neck? Like, explain me the logic. Someone who's crushing your brain, and you ask him to say, "Please save me," and they're looking at it, say, "I'm saving you," and they're still crushing you. Like,
Yeah.
where is the logic in that? But
There
if
is
you
no
find that
logic.
out, they call you a hater or a traitor to your own. Like, where's the logic in that?
Well, that's exactly what's happening. People are envying the same person they claim is oppressing them, and they're wondering why the outcome of their life is bad. It's so simple, but people have to love evil, and that's what this all comes down to. People love the same evil that the world is promoting. That's why they're blind to the consequence of it. Their mind is reprobate. They're loving that evil. You have to love lust, greed, and all these evil things for you to be blind to how the world uses it. People who are like consumed with pornography don't have a problem with it being promoted and people responding to a world built on pornography because all the guys are wondering why women are just selling their bodies. Well, if you don't have a problem with pornography in your own life, then you shouldn't have a problem with it when it's in your and outside the world. But that's the thing. See, the reason people love evil, they just hate the consequences of the evil they love. Because a lot of people in private, yes, lust is a temptation for all men and women. But I can be honest to say it's very destructive. It's a distraction. It's deceiving. I could be honest about that. That's why I don't trust it in it. So, but people want, they want to be out here and to be able to lust like it's no tomorrow. And then when lust drives them to a divorce or having children with a wrong woman or destroying their life, they want to go complain to the government and they don't want to acknowledge that, you know what, I stepped outside of God's will because God warned me about lust. He warned me about it. The world didn't. The world was promoting it. Only God warned me about lust. So it's me disobeying God that get brought me into that situation. But instead of acknowledging that I sinned against God, I'm gonna go to the government and I'm going to complain about the government, and the government is going to deceive me further. And that's what people get frustrated from. They don't realize the government is not. The government has the governments are against God. I know people want to be like, look, if the governments of the world was for God, then the world would be a much better place. But that's not happening. The world is in sin. This world has fallen from God because of us, because we've chose evil over God. Literally, if you look at, I think it's uh, Gospel of John 3:19, it says, and this is the condemnation that the light has come into the world, and men chose the darkness over the light because their deeds were evil, and they did not come to the light lest their deeds should be reproved. Well, the people are choosing darkness over the light that we know, and but still they're upset because of that. I'm like, we're disobeying God. The world is evil. And it's such a simple concept that people, if the world is evil, then simply not conforming to it will save you a lot of stress. But see, people don't want to be accountable. People don't want to have to make good choices. They rather have the government decide what's good for them instead of them critically thinking and making responsible choices for themselves. Trial and error. Your experiences are enough for you to realize that, obeying God is a better way than being conformed to the world. You can just live your life and see that that's a viable option, but you have to be accountable. You have to be honest about your shortcomings, your errors, and your weaknesses. But everybody's self-righteous. Everybody thinks they're holy without God. Everybody thinks they're good without. There is no good. Only God is good, and we're either obeying Him or disobeying Him.
Hey, you just stated something awesome. You said none is good, and that's the thing. When you and the thing with the word is good is whatever anybody decides is.
Yeah,
But I ask, okay, if good is whatever you want, then why do we have laws? Because if good is whatever you want to be, why is there a law for speed limit? Well, I feel like I should drive 180 miles per hour today. Why should you pull me over and give me a ticket, police officer? You say, well, the world says there is no rule. Whatever, what? So it's like the world in one lips, right? Like the Bible says, forked tongue. On
hmm
one lips, they're saying, do whatever you want. But on
yep,
the second lip, they're copying the scriptures, saying we need to have rules and laws because if we don't, we can't govern these
exactly.
people.
And see, that's the confusion. Confusion is the nature of any enemy. They have to confuse you, and that's the thing. See, it's the form of godliness, but denying the power. See, the government wants to replace God in people's lives, so they create this subjective law where the government has all the power, and it's about making people turning people into merchandise. If you notice, the speed limit isn't even about safety; it's about money. They can care less if you die. People die every day. They sell you poisons, but the government just wants to have the final say. They want to be the final authority in your life. So as long as you're obeying the government, oh, they don't care. That's why police officers, they'll speed to go get donuts. They'll speed just because they can. So if it was about safety, everybody would obey the law. If you have enough money, you can buy yourself out of most things. So it's not about safety, it's about the government being the ultimate authority. And that's why this world is the way it is. You know, that's exactly why it's so stressed. I see people all the time worrying about what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Because what? They trusted in the world and the world let them down. They thought that if I do this and that, that everything was going to work out. But now they're looking at where the world is. Who would have thought that this fake pandemic would shut down the world and everybody would have to rethink how they're living and how they're structuring their lives? Well, that's because that they trusted in the world. I knew the world was moving towards this in 20 years ago or more, my whole life. I knew that this world, the moment I came to the knowledge of truth, I understood where this world was headed. So I knew this day was coming. So when it came, I was like, okay, here it is. It didn't catch me off guard. I wasn't shocked. I was prepared for it. That's why I didn't have any children. That's why I've always been responsible in my with my work ethic and my money because I knew that this time was coming where they're going to try to starve people into desperation, into compliance. And I'm telling people, this is if you would have obeyed God, you would have seen this coming. You know, everybody was all, and look, I get cryptocurrency, man. I dabbled in it a little bit, and look, I just say you have to be wise. I'll just be wise about it, but don't put your trust in your, and don't love it.
Yeah.
Just see it as a tool, just like anything else. It's a tool, but you got to understand that when you start to love it and trust in it over God, then you're going to be disappointed.
Oh yeah. Speaking about Brother Hulk, I always say, there are certain things because when people talk about proving to tangibles, like say, okay, where's proof that your faith is real?
Hmm.
Before this pandemic, uh, what year did Kobe die? Kobe died what? 2000?
Funny,
Was
isn't
it?
it?
Yeah, it was 20. Yes, it was a few months before. Okay, Kobe died. I think January 26th. It was a Sunday,
Hmm.
and then I was on was it I think yeah, he died on his Sunday, and I was on the Rallo show.
Hmm.
I don't know if you know him. I was on the Rallo show
Yeah.
on Monday, and we are talking about the whole Kobe thing, and something in my spirit because for years I've been saying, I'm like, brothers, talking about we live in Babylon, and the Most High says that there's gonna come a time where the Most High there will be a voice in people's ears says, let us go back to the land of our fathers. Let us escape out of Babylon, right? But it says only a few people will obey that voice. So I mentioned, I'm like, hey, looking at how the world is going, talk about was it because the topic was about Kobe being SOSBN, a traveling brother. So I was like, well,
Right.
brothers, if you're about traveling, get your passport. And I remember Rallo even brought it up. I was like, between this spring and June, get your passport because something is going to happen. And I said, because there was a report in 2019 that was saying that uh, you're going to need a passport to fly from state to state.
Right.
Now, I say that out of the spirit because, and then when Rattle played it, when this whole pandemic started, I was
Hmm.
like, yo, the day, 2 weeks before America closed its borders, no planes flying out, I
Right.
was coming back from Mexico City 2 weeks before they closed down the border. Now
Wow.
think about that. And I was hearing about the invisible killer from China. They found some guy in Alaska and they're trying to bring. I'm like, wait a minute. You find some American in Alaska with the killer, invisible killer, but you want to bring him into England? Okay, how in the hell from Alaska to the US, all of a sudden you got thousands of people quote unquote infected. How did this spread that fast if you were quote unquote containing this guy so you can study him? How?
Right.
Like it didn't make any sense. But just to show how the spirit sees things ahead of it, because people say, "Oh, when is it gonna happen? When is the collapse gonna happen?" What I'm like, it's not about the when, it's about what you're doing now to prepare so that you guide it with the spirit. Because when Jeremiah was prophesying that Judea, the Israelites are gonna go into captivity, into slavery by the Babylon, guess what? He didn't know when it was going to happen, but he was warning people. Guess what happened? When Nebuchadnezzar came, you know what happened with Jeremiah? He went with them too.
Right. I'm laughing at
Like,
Doug.
yeah, yeah. So I, the thing for those of you listening, what me and Brother Hawk are saying is this world that we live in, they're lying to you, telling you that you're free to do whatever you want, while they set up rules and regulation that are not 100% in accordance with the Bible, but they understood that in order for them to have order, they needed a biblically based structure.
A counterfeit society that
Yes.
mimics a form of godliness, but
Yeah,
it denies the power of it.
it denies it. So
And
they set a trap. So you feel like, oh, I can do whatever I want, but
mhm,
like you say, a counterfeit is fake. Why? Because when you do it, you get caught. What happens? You're in trouble.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, but see, his it's what we've been saying. I mean, it's this thing is so obvious to me. And I struggle with understanding why people can't see it. But I understand that people don't want to see it because the world has indoctrinated people over decades to be prideful in what the world says. It's not just knowledge. They have to be prideful about it. They have to have an identity based on what's coming through worldly institutions. And see, that was all to replace the identity of God that holds us accountable for the evils that we all do. We all do. But see, I'm accountable because I understand my being honest about the things I've done wrong and bad choices I've made in life. I can be honest about that. And I can choose to understand the right way, even when I'm struggling to do it. And I can be honest about the consequences that come with doing things the evil way. That's why, you know, the best evidence of my faith in my life, that since people don't think you don't have any evidence, is the fact that I'm changing. And it's not something I'm trying to do. Simply obeying and believing and trusting in the word of God over trusting in myself is opening my eyes and allowing me to move in this world void of consequences in a way that I'm just aware. I have better discernment. I can see things happen. I'm more about prevention than reaction because I can see my own evil causing problems before I even get into situations, and I can choose to get out of it. You know, the Bible says there's no temptation that is common to man that the Lord won't make a way to come out of.
Yes, yes.
And it's like it's like I always have a way out. I can see it before it gets bad. And I was like, wow. There used to be a time I was so blinded by lust, by vanity and greed until I just thought, let me just do it. I want it. I want it. I want it. And that goes back to what I said about James 4, because I wanted something so bad that had to do with my flesh. That was blind to how the world was using my evil to bring me right into that kind of destruction. But now I see. And see, people don't realize that that's the evidence is that my life is changing, and I have no desire to be foolish. I have no desire to be destructive in ways that I used to think were fun. I have no. It's being removed from my life, and now I value having wisdom. I value having order. I value correction. I value when when people rebuke me and call me out for being wrong. I thank them. I'm not prideful to say, "Don't tell me what to do." I'm happy that people can correct me as long as they're using the correct standard that we all have to be held to. When somebody corrects you, that's true. That's those are the only people who care. They're willing to correct you, and they admonish you as a brother, and they're not being hypocritical. They're not asking you to do something that they're not willing to do. They just see that it's like that's how I know I'm changing, and my life is changing as a result. My life is becoming the world is getting darker. But why is my life not getting darker?
Yes.
People are fearful, but why am I not fearful? People are unprepared, but relatively, why am I more prepared than most? If my faith is empty, why is my life giving better results? And I just try to let people know, like, you have to come to grips with yourself, and God will open your eyes, man. The world is deluding you. This is strong delusion. This is a lie. This is a deception. and the world wants to get you wrapped up in it so it can give to you and then take from you, leave you sitting there desperate, and then you be waiting for the government to throw out another stimulus check, or you be begging the government to do something, and they going to take your rights and freedoms and then say, well, it's for your own safety. We have to force you to stay in the house, and you can't go to work, and you have to wear this personal protection device and stay 6 feet apart, and don't see your loved ones, even though your elderly loved ones that may be dead tomorrow. We don't want you to see them. Like, this is what the world's trying to sell you, and think of the grief and stress that comes. You can't even see your dying loved ones. That
Oh,
stress is gonna haunt you for the rest of your life.
bro, not only that, if you are speaking about it when you mentioned about that you didn't want to have any children, my own within my own family, they experienced when last year in the summer in June went to hospitals, they literally were trying to basically restrict husbands or you know, man from seeing the mother of their child giving birth, trying to pull the the hoaxy hooks, and not only that, while the mother is in pain, they'll come there and ask her questions about giving the baby the shot, right?
Oh my God.
So basically, and this is why when we tell the women that a man can survive on his own, but a woman needs a
No.
man,
Yes.
because what they do is they target women's insecurity to destroy their children. What did the scripture says? Woe unto them who are with child in those days.
Yep.
Woe means destruction. And notice the scripture says it doesn't. It says a woman with child. Notice it doesn't say a family with child, because a
Yeah.
family includes a father and a mother. It
Woe
says
to
a
woman.
woman.
Well, with child and give suck in those last days. And that's exactly what we see, because now women are, even if you're pregnant, try to have a home birth. Most women now, they have to go. You have to deal with the hospitals, because a man was sit there. If you had a father, a viable, qualified father in the house, he would say, "Look, we're going to find some naturopathic person who's not going to try to require you to get tested or to take the jab and all this. Like, we're not doing that. We're going to find a way. Even if I got to go find someone who's willing to do it, who's qualified to do it in their home, we're going to find a way." But women are like, they're scared. Well, I guess I got to go to the sorcerers out here. These, pharmakia sorcerers out here, and we got to do what they say. And what they're going to do, they're going to promote. They're going to say, you need to get a test. You need to, and we need to do this. Even before hoax, even before this, they wanted to put vaccine, other jabs
Yeah,
in
yeah,
in
yeah. I know, I
children.
know. That word is sensitive nowadays. I know, I
Yeah,
know. You
but
had to.
they Yeah, they wanted to put other types of things. The what is it? MMR
And
jab.
false, was it vitamin K, like the bad one? Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody
all of they
poison.
wanted to put all this stuff. They were putting all this stuff in our bodies at birth. And then instead of just realizing that they're putting the poison that's going to dismantle our immune system at birth, we want to believe in all of these illnesses that concocted up for us to have a big pharma solution. Because everything that they say is wrong with us, it always leads to big pharma. It doesn't lead back to detoxing, to fasting, to eating right, better lifestyle. No, they always want to say, well, you have this disease, and so you need to take this drug. It's always a drug. And that's why they shoot you up at birth, And keep in mind, our parents are compromised before they even conceive us, because they've
Yes,
been shot up at birth. So we have this cumulative effect of being poisoned over time and generationally, destroying the integrity of our bodies. And then when the children are born, we wonder why they have these problems. And then the system wants to tell us it's it's something that doesn't make any sense, instead of realizing that you are putting the poison in us, and you've done it over such a long period of time, and you only want your big pharma buddies to be the solution. I mean, it's so clever to see through. I don't understand why people just were lazy about their life. They just want somebody to think for them. They want authority figures who are appointed and funded and compromised to tell you what to do with yourself. Because They don't want you to think. These people. It was an article where they said critically thinking is not good for you or something like that. I was like, what? They actually
You know what?
published this.
You know what? You have to believe it. You want to know why? Because it's not the Bible. Because the Bible was written by men. But if you read an article that's written by a doctor, you have
Oh
to
yeah.
believe it.
But here's the thing, fasting. The Bible, written by man, actually proves the things that we already agree with. Remember, the Bible is a uniform historical account of God's spirit and law over time for everybody that's been honest. So over all of this time, everybody's coming to the same the same understanding about the evils within man, the issues that men face about life and death and purpose. And it's survived over time. And it's been consistent because everybody who's trusted in God's law has the same outcome. Not everybody who reads it, because let's go back to what the biblical Jesus said. He said, the foolish man is the one who heard the word and did not do it. And his house was built on the sand. And when the storm came and the winds blew, his house fell, and great was the fall of it. But it was the wise man who heard the word and did it. And his house was built on a rock. So when the winds came, the rains descended, his house stood. And see, that's the thing. That's the wisdom that people don't understand. Like, is your house standing when life gets tough, or are you just being blown away standing on whatever doctrine you have? Well, everybody who stood let me tell you something, we're all going to die. But some people have peace when they're dying. A peace that is hard for people who are not believers to understand. I've seen people die in front of my face peacefully, not stricken with fear, not worrying about what's going to happen, but with security because they know, just like I know now why I'm alive, the truth. And the truth is not something someone is going to be able to convince you of. It's something that's going to be revealed to you through your own understanding, through your own life. God is going to reveal that to you, but you must trust in His way, in His word over the world to actually come to that revelation. People will trust the doctors all day, and doctors have a failure record that is astronomically high. People will trust the justice system that doesn't provide justice. People will trust politicians that lie and get exposed every day. But they won't even trust or act or test the law of God. Not what's coming from these churches because they don't teach the Bible.
Yeah, yeah. The
They're
church.
teaching worldliness. They're teaching you how to be, they're teaching the same philosophy of the world. They're just putting biblical labels on things. Same worldly philosophy. How to get money, how to get people to like you, how to get married, how to do this, how to do that. The same thing you hear in the world. They're not teaching you about your evils, your sin, about the accountability that we should have with our creator, the origin of how we got here. You mean to tell me people don't have a problem with a man telling you you came from nothing, but you have a problem with somebody telling you that a creation came from a creator? Which one sounds more logical? That you came from nothing, which you cannot see no evidence of anything spontaneously creating itself. But we do see evidence of creations coming from creators. That people who make TVs came from a TV maker, a book came from a bookmaker. We see evidence of people making things, but we don't see evidence of something making itself
But
out of nothing.
but Hulk, even in science, what did they tell us? For every action, there is a what?
Equal and opposite reaction.
So if nothing, how can you have something out of nothing? Because nothing means no thing. So how can you have a thing from no thing? So even in itself, science is telling you you came from something because there you can't have no thing without no thing.
Well, the second law of thermodynamics, or I think, or either law of conservation of mass, whatever, it talks about entropy. What the scientists even say for their monkey theory of evolution to work, energy has to be gained. But what we see in life is that energy is lost. Entropy, and entropy relates to the fact of death being entered into the world. That things are losing energy over time. They're winding
Yeah.
down. But they're telling you for evolution to be true, there has to be energy and being injected to the system. So science is even inconsistent on itself.
Well, I mean, science has been very inconsistent since last year. Uh, I'm not a quote unquote doctor, but I recall even in Africa, we learned
That
from
means you're more
science.
qualified.
Yeah, in science regarding the was it the breathing system? I forgot what they were calling it, where it shows you the lungs, the heart, how your veins, like the was it arteries and veins, where it shows you the blue color blood and the red color blood
Yeah.
when it comes
Hmm.
to the oxygen, that you need oxygen to get new blood, like it's like a recycle system.
Right.
I'm like, you mean to tell me that science that I learned from middle school is null and void because of a hoaxy hoax? That
Exactly.
you create a law that's against that science, saying that
Yeah.
you need to cover your face and it's healthy,
Yeah.
that you want to. I'm like, oh my,
Or you just need to, it's funny that people need evidence about everything, but no one can be sure or prove without a reasonable doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt, or what's in the jab. But they don't know how much faith you have to have in the government to just put something you can't verify into your
yeah.
bloodstream. How much faith do you have to put something in your bloodstream that you just taking 100% trust on some kind of fake science and fake research that will never be public, that you will never know and never be able to confirm, but you'll just trust that the government cares about you and the government loves you.
And you're taking it from a stranger when you parents, right, if any parents are listening, we were told don't accept anything from strangers, but because the TV talking head says go to your local doctor, get the shot. And guess what, how do you know that doctor? Do you know what he does in his private life? Do you know if he has skulls in his closet,
Hmm.
he has a red carpet calling to the deities of the dark to give him money,
Yeah.
to send him more clients? Do you know what he does in the dark? But you're gonna accept him because he's wearing what? White shirt, white robe, white wizard robe, and you think white is good. So when he shoot you with that white liquid or that clear liquid, that he say it's good for you. Can if how I always say those quote unquote scientists or big science fan, I always wonder when they go to get a shot, do they
Hmm.
ask the doctor for the evidence that what they're taking will actually
No,
help
they
them, or do
don't.
they just
But
accept it?
but
They
guess what they
leave it.
do sign? They sign a waiver form that the doctor won't be held accountable if you die. But they won't disclose what's happening. This is how stupid this is. Now, if you die or your family members die, those doctors are off the hook. The government is off the hook, but they won't even tell you exactly with any public research or public evidence, or even not that you can trust anything, but they won't even tell you what's in it. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
They won't even tell you what's in it, and they
yeah.
just want you
If
to
you
put
ask,
it. They'll use all this science, mRNA, and all this, and even admit that there's nanoparticles and all this stuff in it, but they won't even tell you like the binding agents, the toxic things that go into it. They won't tell you none of that.
hey, you know me, I'm crazy. I make it. This is my joke. I'm like, how do you know they didn't shoot you with goat piss? How do
Well,
you
they
know?
they would know, but you know what? Let me tell you something. People think that I'm religious. I am not. The Bible is a book of life, and it's proven it by living it. The Bible is it's a choice. You choose to live for God or against Him. God gives you the choice to do either or. So people, all this Bible hate, people don't have to hate the Bible. The Bible, God allows you to live against Him because you are a free will. You have your own life. But the consequences that happen for you living outside of God, well, they're your own to bear. That's your own choice. So if life doesn't work out for you and you're living outside of God, why are you hating the people who choose to live for God? You made your choice. So you should be the happiest person in the group if you think that you're right. Why do you have to waste time hating other people who don't believe as you?
Yeah,
If
and
you truly believe that we're crazy, that your way is better, then why are you even wasting time? You should have a perfect life.
Mhm.
But if your life isn't perfect and you have the same issues and you're godless, then you have a problem because this world is leading you down into darkness but you don't have any hope. You're just going to die.
Yeah, and nobody wants to die. And
No, they don't.
yeah,
And
nobody
but
wants
see,
to
that's the whole idea. They don't want you to know your creator because look, what the life that is within us, and I say this on every stream I've done, there's a difference between, the true atheists are all materialists, right? They don't really think of conscious
die.
emotion or
Yeah.
logic or justice. These are immaterial attributes. They're
Mm.
all 100% materialists, but they can't deny that there's a difference between my body and a body in a cemetery. There's a
Oh,
difference between what's in me and what's not in that body in that cemetery. And if both of those are equal, if we're just all materials, then why can't I move, think, and why am I aware of myself in that body in that cemetery? What happened? Where? Because science doesn't account for life. They can't tell you where it came from and actually what is it. They want to tell you it's chemical reactions, but if it's chemical reactions, why can't they recreate it? Chemicals, we got chemicals. They got a whole periodic table. Can't put those chemicals together and create life, can you? Nope. So how can you dictate what something is if you can't replicate it?
and that's why I tell people that cloning is a hoax because if you accept the idea of cloning, that means you accepted that man can be like the Most High. But we know even from their own science, because think about this: if cloning was real, it would have been done already.
Yeah, but unless they put the demonic people in there,
Yeah.
like it's definitely not people, but it
Yeah.
might be demons out here. Y'all can believe that these politicians are real people. I suggest whether you're a believer or not, read the parable of the wheat and the tares in Matthew
Oh
13.
yeah, me and my father were talking about it.
And
Now, go
let me
ahead,
say,
Hulk.
that parable is very interesting because not only does it talk about the children of God versus the children of the wicked one, but it also tells you this is one of the only parables I think, other than the parable of the sower, that the biblical Jesus Christ interpreted his own parable. He told you what everything represented. So it's no subjectivity here. It's no metaphor. He told you what it meant. He broke it down. Matthew chapter 13. So these people, look, I think I'm going to say this about the cloning. They might be creating bags of flesh with demons walking around in there, but they're not replicating what God created.
Exactly.
I'll just say it like that. Now, you
And
can believe
yeah.
that they are somehow replicating something with a soul. They cannot do that.
No, yes. That's what I was trying to imply. Meaning, when people talk about cloning, the way people when they mention cloning, they're talking about doing a replica of something that was.
Hmm.
No, what they can
Exactly.
do is they can give you a shell, but the
Yep.
entity in it is not gonna be what the Most High created. They can't.
Yep.
Because once there is an order of things, once a human soul leaves its original body, the angels make sure it goes to its habitation.
Yep.
So you can't grab it like you have no power over the soul after it's gone. Even Satan has, but
Exactly.
if he doesn't
Ex-
have that power, you can't. Like man can't. Yeah,
yeah. I don't look. We don't believe clones have souls either, Doug. And respect to you, Imperator, um, and everybody else here. Yes, Dale Hess is blind faith. It is true. And I look. There are, and if you look at these politicians and you look how dumb and evil, like this is what Biden said. He's like, get the shot or wear a mask until you do. Does that
yeah,
sound like somebody? That sounds like, man, that people hate, look, I don't love no politician. I don't vote for no politician, but that sounds like a dictatorship.
yeah. It is. And, speaking about early, that's what I wanted to mention, Hawk. The world tries to trick mankind to think that the Most High, our Father, is a dictator. No. You know who's a dictator? Lucifer, Baal.
Yeah.
Why? He trick you, you have freedom, but then guess what? You discover real tyranny.
Hmm.
But the Most High gives you freedom. You have the freedom to call the Most High names. Go ahead and try and see if you go against this politician. They make you disappear.
Right.
Lucifer doesn't offer no quote unquote freedom. He gives you an illusion of freedom. The Most High gives you the ultimate freedom. Choose life or death.
That's
But
it.
Lucifer, he will coerce you to always choose death by any means necessary. Never
That's
life.
it. Hey,
Never.
bro, I gotta get ready to go, man. But I just had to hop on.
Yes,
I
sir.
definitely wanted to share this. Good to see you back on. I know you was traveling and you had things to do, man. Same here. I'm just now getting back on. You see, I've been trying to do a little bit more, so definitely going to try to
Yes,
catch
sir.
your lives and show some support, man. Because
Yeah,
our
I'm looking
channels,
forward to catch yours too.
yeah, our channels are hard and are not going to be promoted because we're not sensationalizing people. We're not, making people emotional about complaining or not. No, we're just trying to tell you what your objective reality is right now. What you can actually test. The fact that what you need to be concerned about is what the government is doing. What the government is starting to require. This cage that's being built right over you right now that's determining what you can do and what you can't do and what's acceptable and what's not. Now, the corporation is now the little g god of the world. We got to decide whether we can walk out without our devices based on what they say. It's ridiculous, man. So, look, man, I'm honored to be here, man. I'm looking forward to you getting your stuff out there, man. Because look, people might hate us now, but as this world gets darker, we're gonna be the only light.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I really appreciated you coming back on because, like I always say, the Most High has blessed each one of us with their own gift, and I always like how to hear you talk because you have a way especially when you talk about health and medical topics.
Hmm.
The Most High has blessed you with a way because you have a lot of knowledge than me when it comes to that. I even mentioned I say I'm more of like a brute where I just go gun blazing, but you're the
Both are needed, man.
technician. Yeah.
Both are
So,
needed.
yes,
We need both.
I really appreciate it.
One
Mhm.
plants, another waters. God makes the increase, brother. All right,
Yeah.
man. Well, I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Peace.
All right, peace.
That was a brother Spiritual Hawk. He's a great brother. He has a great channel. Let's see. Let me see if I can grab his channel, post it in the chat. I always say support the message. We those of us who are trying to speak on things outside of what the mainstream is speaking, uh, we are not loved. The world doesn't appreciate our message. Like even me, my channel was flagged. That's why I abstained from uploading anything because I had a strike and it was for like 3 months. So in order for me to quote unquote escape the what should I say? In order for me to escape the chance of getting my channel, erased off of YouTube, I decided to, you know, refrain from doing any live. Be patiently waiting. I started just doing uploads, so that's one of the reasons why. But to kind of summarize from everything that me and Brother Hawks just spoke earlier in relation to my topic about stress, the world don't want you to be of sound mind because they cannot use you. And for all of us who've lived this life long enough to understand, when you're in stress, when you're in fear, in panic mode, in in depression, you would make decision uh, that will most of the time not benefit you because you will make those decisions out of fear and worry and illogical point of view. So the scriptures, the Bible, the most hated book in the universe, always reminds the people who put its trust on the written word of the Most High that don't be anxious. Of course, it is normal to have fearful emotions, but don't rely on it for your existence because it will never lead you to a good place. Always trust what the Most High says and do the best you can to find the solutions to overcome your problems. But the world, the society we're living in, they want you to have your eyes on things that will cause you stress. That's one reason why I don't have TV in my house. I have my phone. If I need to read something or watch videos online, I do. Most of the time, I use YouTube or watch different channels. And also, talking about stress, people have to people have to train themselves to abstain from viewing or participating in contents that will cause them stress. You know, but as you know, we mentioned earlier, the world loves weakness. So, because weakness of the world seems pleasurable, right? Chaos, fights, and people, even though they say they don't want it, but it's like I gotta see, I gotta watch because you know, it's pleasurable. But then when they get stressed out of it, they don't realize you're stressed out because you participated in something that will put you in that state of mind. So abstain from it, stay away from it. Take a break. Fast from was it stressful contents. If you watch football and football gets you worked up, put you in a rage or anger mode or something. Maybe you need to back off and maybe you need to start watching golf. Maybe start watching some boring game that don't put stretch in your mind, or maybe watch volleyball. Watch girls volleyball so you can relax your mind. You know, but I'll tell you, health is wealth. There is nothing better than being healthy, and I try my best, to practice what I teach. I try to live the best healthy lifestyle that I can. And yeah, speaking about health, I mentioned one of the things they were saying, being aware of you drinking and smoking. I recall a few years ago, I'll say 3 years ago, I bought some liquor. It was on my birthday. I bought some liquor. I was like, okay, maybe I have some guests that'll come, and celebrate or whatever. And I think I bought 4 bottles, and only one bottle got used all the way to half, right? Guess what? Those drinks, I never even opened any of them. So I still have them over here in my in the kitchen. I never even it's there. I see it all the time, but nothing. There's no. Oh, you know what? Maybe I need to drink this. It doesn't even cross my mind. So if I ever have to, oh, you know what? I got some tequila here. Let me drink. I'll drink. I won't drink it to go, gone blazing. I'll be like, okay. It's been a while since I had the taste of liquor in my mouth. I'll mix it with Coke or drink, but it's not. I'm not gonna be like, oh, let me just indulge in this. No, because why? I have self control. I want to be in a sound mind. I'm like, okay, maybe a glass or two, but not too much where it overclouds my judgment. So the thing is, balance is key, and always try to being aware of your surrounding, being aware of what you're doing, and the only way to do so is of a sound mind. So I really appreciate all the people who came in the building. Shout out to those who came in a little bit late. Brother Dale Hess, I saw you earlier, and Imperator, welcome. Uh, and Tyrone Church, yes. So stay tuned, guys, for another stream. I really appreciate you guys stopping by. Was it one final going? My little okay. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Like, share, and I'll have more topics to talk about. And if you guys have any suggestion, please do not be afraid to mention something in the comments because you know I'm trying my best to get back to the contents, but with work and my schedule sometimes it's kind of hard. But I don't want to let you guys down because some of you are subscribed with me because you appreciate the contents, and not hearing from me, uh, it's a disservice. So I apologize for my part for failing to provide you with the contents because you are subscribed to me, and I really appreciate your support. You know who you are. whether you support me in prayer, spirit, the donations, and everything. I really appreciate it. So uh, don't worry, I'll be back. I will be back and give you more content and basically provide you my point of views on things. And we'll be touching some topics, uh, like Brother Doug suggested earlier, when it comes to history. I'll talk about that too, because what's also happening before I go is a rewriting of history. Because they've deceived us so much, they've started retracting certain things. So some information could be true, but they're retracting certain details to make it seem like what we heard wasn't what we heard, that we just making things up. So I may do a stream to clear certain topics out and bring out certain books that I do own to kind of prove a point, to remind people that online, before I go, and this is the truth, and I'm speaking from what the Bible talks about and for what I know. We have a lot of agents online, especially on YouTube, and those onlines get a lot of support from mainstream, the government, and all of them. And they're here. They're paid for misinformation, and that is a fact that cannot be denied. So you have to make sure that whoever you're getting information to, even from me, that you investigate and do your own research to make sure that whatever I'm spewing out is what I'm saying it is. Because we have a lot of misinformation agents that are paid, I repeat, that are paid, that's their salary, to misinform you. And they will never reveal who they are. They're paid to misinform you. So always have that in mind as a viewer who, in this YouTube or online space, that not everybody you listening to is there to give you information that will benefit you. They're giving you information that will benefit you to the leaders of this world. So I'll leave that, to have that in the back of your mind, that be careful who you listen to, because you could be listening to a misinformation agent. So stay tuned. God bless you. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.